That was nifty.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Josh with J Show Horror. Today I'm going to be talking about the complete 7th and final season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, this review will contain tons of spoilers for the season, so if you don't want to be spoiled on anything, check this show out on Hulu. I do highly recommend the show overall, but I definitely want to get into some details. Overall, I think season 7 was a good season, but definitely one of the weakest seasons of Buffy. Even a weak season of Buffy, I still think is good. It's still enjoyable. I still get something great out of that season, even if it's not top tier Buffy. Overall, this show was great. So even the weaker season, I still really like. But yeah, there's a lot I like about this season. I like the storyline. On paper, this storyline is a great final season storyline. You got the gang fighting the First throughout this season, and I think the First is a pretty good villain. I feel like they could have used the First a little better in this season. It's more of a manipulator. He doesn't physically do much. And you got all these bringers. They're going around. They're trying to kill these potential slayers. Buffy and Giles end up getting all these these future slayers, and they start training them and trying to get them ready for the fight with the First, and also just training them in case any of them does become a Slayer, that they could take Buffy's spot if she ever dies, or even Faith's spot. And then like the First messing with Spike, because Spike did get his soul back at the end of season 6, and I love that he got his soul back, and then the First is like manipulating him up throughout this season. I think that's a great storyline. There's a long stretch of this season that kind of feels slow. It doesn't feel like too much is going on. You keep getting all these new potential slayers, and then you have a lot of sitting around Buffy's house, a lot of just talking. It feels like there is quite a few filler episodes too, like filling the time. It's the final season. This season should be like super exciting. Like season 5, that was supposed to be the final season. They should have made it really exciting and heartfelt like season 5. A lot of waiting around. I wish there was a lot more exciting episodes leading up to the awesome finale of this season. But since there's so many characters also this season, I feel like we barely got to know any of the potential slayers, and I felt like there was a lot less time spent on the gang we know and love. So I felt like it was really split, where like nobody really got like a lot of story or a lot of screen time. I felt like a lot of it was shortchanged, even though this storyline overall is a great storyline. I felt like they could have made it more exciting and kind of got to know a lot more of the new characters and spent a lot more time with the old characters. But I love the way this season ends. I think it's a perfect ending. So, I mean, there's a lot I like. I like Caleb in this season too, Nathan Fillion. He doesn't show up until like towards the end of the season, but I think he was really great. I think if he had a whole season arc, I think he would have been right up there with Glory from season 5. He probably would have been one of my favorite villains. Just a great character. I think Caleb was super great for the episodes he got. But overall, a pretty good season with a few like really great episodes, with some filler here and there and a lot of waiting around. But I still enjoy this season. Definitely one of the weaker seasons of Buffy for me, but I definitely want to talk about some of my favorite episodes of this season. Alright, the first episode I want to talk about is Same Time, Same Place. This is the episode where Willow just comes back from London. She was like training with Giles. She's actually using magic, but in a really good way. She hasn't cut herself off. I like how she is using magic and the way she's using it. She's like one with Earth and all that. I love how they were using Willow in this season. And she comes back, she goes off the plane, and Xander, Buffy, and Dawn are waiting for Willow, and they don't see her when she gets off the plane. And also Willow doesn't see them when she gets off the plane. So she thinks that her friends did not wait for her, and because of all the stuff she did at the end of last season after Tara's death and all that. She runs into Spike, and I love the scene where like Willow's talking to Spike, and then Buffy and Xander shows up, But you don't see Willow, and then you show the perspective of not seeing Xander and Buffy. Like, I loved how they edited all that, and I just liked how they did that entire scene. But the villain of this episode, I think this is a great villain. I thought he was really creepy. I think they could have used him in a few more episodes, but like, he would fillet all the skin off his victims and eat the skin slowly. I thought that was like a great villain there. I love that villain.
Your friends left you here. No one comes to save you. They wanted me to have you.
And of course, Xander and Buffy are finding some bodies with no skin on it, so they kind of assume maybe it is Willow because Willow ripped all the skin off Warren. And even Willow herself kind of thinks a few times here and there that maybe she did this too. And then it leads to like them all ending up at this cave where this Willow goes in, and of course they kind of hear something, Buffy and Xander, but of course they don't see Willow. And Anya's there too, of course. And Willow's like paralyzed while this creature starts eating her, taking off some skin and starts eating it. And Anya's like, man, Willow's right here. You can't see her. Of course they beat the creature, and I like how at the end of the episode you find out that Willow actually did this. She had the power to make them not see her because she wasn't ready for them to see her. She thought they would be ashamed of her, but of course they have forgave her for everything she did. I thought that was a great episode towards the very beginning of this season, and it just really felt like a lot of the conclusion from the end of season 6 also. Another episode I really liked was Help. This is the episode where Buffy first becomes a counselor at the school, and one of the students named Cassie shows up in her office and says that she's gonna die really soon, like next week or something. So instantly Buffy wants to try to help her, and she keeps telling Buffy, hey, you can't help me. I know you want to help, but I am gonna die. You might as well not even try. I know it's gonna happen. And Buffy just refuses that. She tries everything in her power to stop it, and Buffy has Dawn like go and start talking to Cassie, so her and Cassie become friends pretty quick. And I think this episode is kind of suspenseful because you know she might die, and so they spend a lot of time trying to prevent it. And for some reason I really like this actress who played Cassie. Like, I liked her instantly. I would have loved to seen her more on the show, but yes, I thought she was really great even just in a couple episodes of Buffy. So Buffy does show up to try to save Cassie, and she does save her, and they start to walk out, and then like this arrow shoots out and Buffy catches it, and Buffy says, see, you're gonna be okay, and Cassie just instantly falls to her death. Buffy has no idea what happened, so she died anyway. And I love the conversation at the end of the episode where Buffy thinks she failed, and Dawn says, no, you did not fail. Because of you, I had a new friend, and you tried everything you can, but sometimes you can't save everybody. Because Cassie died of a heart defect. That was a natural thing that you could not stop. Another episode I really enjoyed was Conversations with Dead People. This is the episode where like Buffy starts to fight a vampire, and they realize they were friends in high school, and they have this conversation throughout the entire episode. And then they fight in between, and Buffy reveals some stuff to the vampire. I just loved all that. Dawn is at home, and she ends up seeing Joyce, she thinks, and then Willow is in the library, and she sees the ghost of Cassie, and Cassie keeps telling her, hey, Tara sent me and she wants to talk to you, but she can't talk to you. You find out at the end this is the first that's messing with all of them, but it was really suspenseful throughout. Like, I really thought Willow was gonna be able to talk to Tara, and I thought maybe Tara would show up in this episode. I really wish Tara did show up sometime in this season. I love Tara so much, like I said in my last review, and I loved at the beginning of this episode too that Willow went to Tara's grave, so you got a little moment after Tara's death, because after Tara's death in season 6 it was so chaotic, you never really got a moment to like deal with her death.
There is one thing you could do to stop it.
What? Anything.
And you could see her. You wouldn't have to talk through me.
Tara?
That's what you want, isn't it?
Of course.
So go. Be with her. Everybody will be safe and you'll be together again. It's not that bad.
Lies my parents told me. This is a sort of a Spike-centric episode where they're trying to figure out what's going on with Spike because he got brainwashed by the First and he keeps killing people. They want to figure out what's triggering all this. They find out it is a song that his mom used to sing. And I like all the story with Spike. They went back and they showed how, like, when he first became a vampire and his mom gets sick and he decides to turn her into a vampire so she doesn't die. And of course that backfires. And also Principal Wood, I love his story because Spike did kill his mom. So Principal Wood definitely wants revenge on Spike. So he does capture Spike and he like starts to beat Spike to death. Giles and Buffy are in the graveyard and Giles is trying to distract Buffy while all this stuff is going on with Spike because Giles thinks killing Spike is the answer too, because he could get in the way if he gets evil again and he starts killing people. I like how you find out that Spike's mom resented him for turning her into a vampire and she like gets all weird with him and Spike does end up killing his own mom. I thought that was a great backstory while all this was going on, why Wood was beating him to death and he was about to kill him and then it turns around and Spike has a chance to kill Principal Wood and I love that he decides not to. He gives him a pass. He was going to kill him but he decided not to kill him because of Buffy. If Buffy says if you get in my way or if you try to kill Spike or anything, I will kill you myself. So I thought that was a pretty suspenseful episode and it was a great kind of Spike-centric episode and you got a lot of Principal Wood in there with his revenge for his mother's death. Another thing I loved this season, of course, was that Faith showed up towards the end of the season. They had this entire Slayer storyline. So glad she came in for the end of this series. Probably my favorite episode of this season is the series finale. I love this episode. It's called Chosen. And I like how at the beginning you get a little bit of character moments in the first half of this episode before it leads to the big climax of the series. And Buffy does kill Caleb at the beginning of this episode with this giant axe that she found, this powerful axe. And I love how Angel showed up and he had to show up at the end of this series. Come on, you could not have Angel not show up. Him and Buffy have this great little conversation talking about the future, and Buffy sometimes thinks about a future with somebody, but she also knows she's a Slayer and she could die at any moment. Angel gives her this amulet and Buffy tells Angel to leave and prepare the second front. So Angel does leave and I love how Spike's like hitting the punching bag and it's got like the drawing, a little cartoon drawing of Angel's face. That was just so funny.
I do. Sometimes think that far ahead.
Sometimes it's something.
Be a long time coming. Years if ever.
I ain't getting any older.
And I love the storyline of Willow using the axe to turn every potential Slayer in the whole world into actual Slayers, give them their power. I just love that. I thought that was so great, and that was a perfect way to end this series too. So yeah, after like she turns every potential Slayer, they get all the power. They're at the Hellmouth, and there's like thousands and thousands of uber vamps. I think the final battle is so awesome, and I love the moment before the final battle where the camera just pans around and you got the 4 original characters: Giles, Xander, Willow, and Buffy. That's the 4 that you started with in season 1. They had this great little moment where they're like, hey, what are you gonna do after this? Oh, I think I'm gonna go to the mall. And Giles is like, oh, we're doomed. And that was just a great moment. I love that. You had to have that in there. And I also love where Buffy is gonna say bye to Dawn before the battle starts, but Dawn says, no, wait after. Anything you say will sound like goodbye. So a lot of great stuff in this finale. I just wish the whole season was this great. So like when the fight starts, I love that. It feels so huge. Like this battle feels so awesome, and you see all these potential Slayers fighting and everything. Anya and Andrew are fighting together, and Anya does die. Man, that was so hard to see. Anya died. At least it was kind of like in the last episode of the series, and not like Tara. And then like the amulet starts to do its thing, and Spike is the one using the amulet. Like all this chaos is going on, and Buffy tells Spike, "I love you." And of course, I love when Spike says, "No, you don't, but thank you for saying it." Like everybody who's left, they get on the bus and they start to drive off, and like the amulet starts destroying all the vamps, and it ends up like destroying all of Sunnydale and the Hellmouth itself. And like they're driving off on the bus, and Buffy is running towards the bus, and she ends up jumping onto the bus. Spike does die. Apparently comes back in Angel. I haven't seen that far into Angel, but just if you look at it as this own thing, I mean, it was great how Spike died. He actually went out as a hero. Spike ended up being one of my favorite characters of this series. Like the first few seasons, I didn't really like Spike. I only started to like Spike in season 5. I love how Xander asked Andrew what happened to Anya, and Andrew said Anya went out saving me. I love how Xander says she just went out doing something stupid like she always does. I think since all these girls became Slayers, in my eyes, Buffy is done. I feel like after this, she does not have to be a Slayer no more because there's so many other Slayers in the world, and I love that. I feel like this is a lot happier ending than season 5, but it works both ways. I really like this happy ending too, and I love the final shot when it's zooming in with Buffy, Dawn, Willow, Xander, Giles, and Faith. Faith says, "Hey Buffy, what are you gonna do now?" And then Dawn says, "Yes, what are we gonna do now?" And then Buffy kind of smiles, and then that's it. But I think with a smile on her face, I think Buffy's done. I think she can finally relax. She can go have a life now, because all these other Slayers can keep on carrying with the fight. So I thought this was a perfect ending to the series. I can't really pick between the gift or this episode as which works more as a series finale, because one's kind of a sadder ending and one's kind of a happier ending. I love both as an ending to the series. But yes, Chosen is definitely one of my favorite episodes of this entire series. I love this episode so much. Season 7 is definitely a weaker season of the series, but I still like it. There is some stuff I like. As a final season though, I would definitely pick season 5 over this. But I love season 6 too, so it's kind of hard. Like, I don't want to take away any season, so because I love spending time with these characters. So overall, I think this series is great. I think the characters are great. Some of the writing is great. Just season 7 definitely is a little bit of a step down compared to other seasons. You could just put anything about Buffy in the comments section below, and I will definitely be doing a ranking of every season, so be looking out for that very soon. And I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.